Welcome to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. Later in the show, Jennifer Benally will tell us about Shiny Moon Creations, specializing in Native American clothing and regalia. And Lanasha chats with Julene Price, owner of Amigo Café. But right now, host Lanasha Puati talks with Tohono O'odham Community College Phoenix Center Director Cassandra Scott.
I'm host Lanasha Puati. Cassandra Scott is the Tohono O'odham Community College Phoenix Center Director. Hello, Cassandra. It's an honor to have you on our show.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for having me today.
And before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your work with Tohono O'odham Community College, and can you tell us where you're from and about your Indigenous heritage?
Yes, I can. So, Shi'e Haltolan Shle, Tenabisi Bashishchin, Tworak Oja Dashiche, Athni Dashanella, Cassandra Scott A. Dashijinne. Originally, I am from the Navajo Nation, the community outside of Gallup, New Mexico, called Red Rock. I ended up in Arizona about 20 years ago to start my educational journey. I attended and graduated from Mesa Community College, Arizona State University, and am a first-generation master's student from Northern Arizona University. And I landed at TOCC about a month ago, actually, in November, and I'm excited to start working with all of the American Indian, Native American students, and really any student who wants access to an educational opportunity. So I'm super excited to be here, consider myself a lifelong learner, and just want to help my community with their opportunities and help them advance.
Wow, it's a pleasure to have you today. Thank you for sharing that. And for those who don't know, can you share with us what is Tohono O'odham Community College, also known as TOCC, and where is it located?
So TOCC is actually located on the Tohono O'odham Nation. The main campus is in Sells, Arizona, which is in southern Arizona, about an hour west of Tucson. There's also a west campus, and then a partnership that we have with San Carlos Apache College. But I have the pleasure of being the new director for the Phoenix Center, which is actually located downtown, right across from Central High School. So if you're familiar with Native Connections or the Phoenix Indian Center, we're actually currently in the same building as them. We have an actual site there for students to utilize. So my goal is to look to increase the participation at the Phoenix Center for TOCC.
Oh, wow, that is awesome. And please tell us about the school, like who is eligible, and tell us about the different programs you offer.
Yeah, absolutely. So TOCC is a 2-year college for really anyone who wants to further their education. The goal and the development of TOCC was to serve the residents of the Tohono O'odham Nation, but really anyone who's pursuing a higher education or some type of training or advancement is welcome to attend. So it's not just for TO members, it's not just for tribal members, it's really for anyone who wants to have access to an educational opportunity. And that's the information that I really want to make sure that we share today. The different types of programs that we have the opportunity for students to work on their associate's degrees. So we have some associate's programs in the popular areas of business, science, education. The good thing about TOCC is we are accredited just like the public community college systems. For instance, if you're familiar with Maricopa colleges, if you're familiar with Coconino community colleges or Pima community colleges, the way that those classes are designed to transfer to our public universities, NAU, ASU, and the U of A, we are on that same system. So any credits that you earn at TOCC would actually allow you to further your education into a bachelor's degree if that's what you want to pursue. But we also have career opportunities. We have some apprenticeship programs on our main campus. We have some casino gaming classes that are available. So there's great opportunity at TOCC, and we're really looking to welcome new students for the summer and the fall semester, and that will open up in March.
And I also understand you are offering free tuition. Who is eligible for this?
So because we're a tribal land-grant institution, we're able to offer free tuition to any Native or American Indian student who is a member of a federally recognized tribe. So as long as you're a registered member of your tribal community, you can attend TOCC at no cost for the tuition. This past semester for the spring, we were actually able to cover the cost of books and fees for all students, as long as they were registered for classes on our campus. So we look forward to helping tribal community members, but I also had mentioned that non-tribal community members can attend too. We offer a very fair, reasonable price per credit hour, which is just about $35 a credit hour, just under that. If you were to look at the cost of the credit hours at the Maricopa colleges, for instance, you're looking at about $86 to about $90 a credit hour. But we're very, very affordable in that $35 range for tuition if you're paying out of pocket. So free and very affordable for non-tribal members.
Oh, yes, definitely. And can you remind us, when does the spring semester start and when is the deadline to apply?
So the spring semester is going to get started on Tuesday, January 17th. So what we're looking at is to start sharing information about summer and fall. Those registration processes will open up on March 20th. So it's never too early to get started on any application process, and that's what we're here for, is to help students get that information and possibly look to get started in the summer or in the fall.
And are your programs only offered in person?
No, our programs are actually offered to students in different modalities. So students can attend in person, they can attend our Stells campus, or they can attend classes here in the Phoenix Center. Right now I have a math instructor and an art instructor who have the option to teach their classes in person. We have great classroom facilities here that I want to get people in to utilize and take advantage of, but we have online classes where students can take an online class completely online, like they don't have a certain meeting day or time. But then we also have that virtual opportunity that people have gotten used to over like a Zoom type of environment where they can take classes in a virtual environment as well.
And can you tell us about the application process for those who are looking to apply to TOCC?
Yeah, students can submit an application today. Our application process is open year-round. There's no cost to apply to TOCC. You simply go to our webpage, which is tocc.edu, and you fill out the application all online. In that application, you'll also want to provide information about your tribal enrollment if it applies to you, proof of your high school completion, and then your official college transcripts or your official high school transcripts if you have those as well. So all online, and it's free. If you need help with the application, we're here in the Phoenix Center Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 to assist you with that application online. Or if you want to go back and do a paper application, we can explore that opportunity and assist you with that as well.
And Cassandra, can you give us kind of like an idea or a layout of what classes are available? Also, maybe specifically at the Phoenix Center one?
Yeah, absolutely. So at the Phoenix Center, like I mentioned before, we currently have a math instructor. So there are a couple college level math courses that are available for students to take. And then we have one of our faculty members who teaches art classes. So this past fall semester, he taught a drawing class here in the center. So those are the options that are currently available in the Phoenix Center, located, like I said, on Central and Indian School. However, some of the online classes that we offer could be in accounting, because we have that partnership with San Carlos Apache. If you wanted to learn Apache language, that's also available. Art history, English and writing courses. We even have biology, chemistry, some computer courses, philosophy. Anything that you're thinking of in that lower division 100, 200 level aspects of your college degree program pathways, that's what we're going to offer. So if you have questions about what we have, you're more than welcome to give us a call or visit our webpage. Our current spring schedule is up there. And then, like I said, in March, the classes will open up for information for summer and fall.
Can you share with us, I'm sure you worked with many students getting them into programs or watching them complete classes. Do you have any favorite success stories?
I always, when talking with students, feed off of their energy, of their excitement, when they realize that this is an opportunity for them. It's an opportunity for them to work with people who understand where they come from, because as Native communities, it's a little bit easier to kind of find the place that you fit if you see people who look like you, or you hear your language, or you see like your language being displayed on building names and in the mission statement of the college. So that's where I really get excited in working with students. But we do have a Tohono community member. Her name is Teresa, and what inspired her to come to TOCC was when she was in the second grade, she had one of the best teachers and educators who made her want to go to school and made school fun for her. And as she was in school, she went to school on the nation for a majority of her elementary, middle school, and high school coursework, and she noticed a lack of teachers who looked like her. A lot of the teachers were not Tohono O'odham members, or they weren't American Indian instructors. She noticed that a lot of the aides, the teacher aides in the classroom, were her people and members of the community. So that's where it kind of sparked that interest of hers to make sure that when she went on to her education, she attended TOCC, and then she also graduated from the University of Arizona and is now in the educational system and schools in the Tohono O'odham Nation to, make sure that kids can see people who look like them teaching them in the schools that they're attending. So that's one of the favorite stories that seems to resonate with our staff at the community college.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Cassandra. And finally, how can our listeners learn more about Tohono O'odham Community College, and how can they contact you if they have further questions?
So we have a really small campus. So basically, you could give us a call. 520-479-2300 is our main campus number. Our campus is small enough to where if you get our operator, they more than likely are going to connect you to the right person who knows exactly what you need to speak about. And then we also have a very general email. info@tocc.edu is our email address. But again, like I said, you can come and visit us Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. We're currently located downtown at 4520 North Central Avenue, Suite 555, Phoenix, Arizona. So the same building as the Phoenix Indian Center, the same building as Native Connections. We're just on the 5th floor, and we would love to have you. We would love to visit with you. And if you're a member of the TO Nation, or you're an alumni of TOCC, or currently taking classes, come and see us. We would love to put faces to names and just get to know the community and how we can make our partnerships and the opportunities stronger for all students.
Well, I would like to thank you, Cassandra, for taking time out to talk to us today, to tell us all of this great information that Tohono O'odham Community College has to offer.
Thank you so much, and I do appreciate the work that you and your organization does as well, because the information you provide to the community is vital, and you do it in such a great way. So thank you so much for this.
Thank you, Cassandra.
Coming up, Lanasha talks with Jennifer Benally, owner of Shiny Moon Creations. Support for KRDP 90.7 FM comes in part from Native Health, with 2 locations in Phoenix, 4041 North Central Avenue, Building C, near the corner of Central Avenue and Indian School Road, and at 2423 West Dunlap Avenue. Native Health is also located in Mesa at 777 West Southern Avenue, near the corner of Southern Avenue and Extension Road. Native Health provides primary medical, dental, behavioral health, WIC, and wellness services for the urban Native American community. For more information, call 602-279-5262 or visit our webpage at nativehealthphoenix.org.
Welcome back to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm host Lanasha Puwadi. On the phone with me is Jennifer Benally, owner of Shiny Moon Creations, specializing in Native American clothing and regalia. It's an honor to have you on our show today, Jennifer.
Sabili, Swagway, Jennifer Paulus Niunyat. Oniotiago, Dene Nation. Good morning. My name is Jennifer. I reside in Rio Rancho, New Mexico. The lands that I come from is the Oneida Nation and the Dene Nation. And I have 3 kids that keep me on the go.
It's a pleasure to have you here today, Jennifer. Can you tell us more about your Shiny Moon Creations?
Yes, thank you for having me. I appreciate you asking me to come and talk today. Shiny Moon Creations actually started by accident. I've been a dancer all my life ever since I could walk. And about the age of 12, my mother said, I can't make your outfits no more. And you're going to have to start making your own outfits. But pre that, she always enrolled me in Oneida Tribal School. And there we learned our culture, our language. We got into arts and crafts as well. So I learned how to sew, learned how to bead, and all of our traditions. Not all of them, but I think we were just starting to get that stuff back in on our reservation. So I remember all these things, and I really love to dance. I've been a fancy shawl dancer all my life, and I wanted to stay with it. And so I started making my own outfits, and then pretty soon people started asking me, can you make this? Can you make that? And but before that, I went to a powwow. I moved away from home. My parents were in Utah, and I moved away from home, and all of a sudden my mom goes, and I was calling my mom all the time, and I was staying with my aunt, and I raised her phone bill to like $356. Back in those days, there was no cell phones, and that was like ridiculous amount. And I was coming back out west to Denver March, and she says, well, do you have money for your phone bill? I was like, no, Auntie, I'll have it when I come back. She's like, are you sure? I know you just got paid. I said, no, Auntie, I got it covered. Really, that wasn't true. I just made a brand new jingle dress for myself. It was the second one that I made. And I wore it in Grand Entry, and I put it on my uncle's stand out in Denver March. And all of a sudden, he's like, this guy comes up and says, how much do you want for that jingle dress? I was like, I don't know. And he's like, I want to buy it. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh, no, I don't have no money for my phone bill. So I said, I'll just take this amount. And so I sold it there on the spot, and that's pretty much how Shiny Moon Creation started. Is I just started making regalias at first, and now I'm doing more men's clothing, women's clothing, and even little kids' modern clothing now.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. And it's amazing how when you were growing up, you had all those cultural classes, so that way you can pick up the skills on sewing and beading as well.
Mm-hmm. The one thing that I'm very fortunate with is being from 2 different tribes. I have, and being raised up in the powwow world is I can grasp from those designs. I can grasp from woodland. I can do floral. I love to do floral. I love to color with my thread is what I say. because I like to put different contrasts, different designs with my floral. I just look at it as coloring, but with a sewing machine. And then with my Danae side, my grandma was a Two Gray Heel rug weaver from Two Gray Hills, New Mexico. And I always used to watch her, and I just loved how she always amazed me because of just knowing how to do her designs, and they didn't map it out, or it was just all in her head. And then coming from the powwow world, just having those geometrics. So I'm able to grasp from those three areas and be very versatile in my designing.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And when did you start Shiny Moon Creations?
I would say about 2003, 2004, somewhere around there. But I've been kind of just, doing the powwow regalia stuff for the longest time. I would say not until the last maybe, I started doing ribbon skirts, about 4 or 5 years ago, if not 6 or 7. And I could say that's when I started doing, like, having the bug to do more clothing for women and starting a fashion clothing for women with Native fashion inquired into it.
Oh, okay. And tell us more about your tagline, keeping cultural heritage alive by creating wearable masterpieces.
So I always believe it's always important to know who you are, where you came from. And from that, you can conquer the world, I believe. And so keeping our culture alive, we're in a modern day society where things are losing rapidly quick, not just within the world, but within our culture. And so I want to make sure that I'm able to, not everybody sews nowadays. Everybody, does their own thing. It's kind of a rarity for people to sew and be able to be versatile in creating traditional clothing. But yet we have a lot of people in the business world or in any profession that are Native and want that identity, clothing that they can associate, clothing that can empower them. So when I create something, it's like a one-of-a-kind piece. I do, replicate some pieces, but if you contract me, it's going to be basically a one-of-a-kind. Sometimes it has meaning with their Indian name or something significant to them. I have those small details. So that's why I always say I'm creating wearable masterpieces, because you'll never find it anywhere else.
Oh, yes, that is definitely true. And I know you just previously mentioned how how your designs are inspired basically back on your background. You're from 2 tribes. Do you have a favorite design, and can you tell us any story behind your favorite design?
That I've created already? Or
yes.
I guess one of my favorite is I was featured I was the first time asked to do a fashion show for the Navajo Nation Fair. I think it was in 2019. And so I was a featured designer with my son. I did a fashion show with him. And I was just coming out. I just started my fashion designing. I went back to school, and I was going to school at Santa Fe Community College for fashion designing. And so I had to come up with a piece, and I also wanted to come up with a grand finale for that fashion show. And I was always, like I mentioned before, I was always amazed at my grandma. I sit there and watch her weave, and the unfortunate thing with that is I only was able to see her like very few times, but short periodic times. Like we lived in Wisconsin, and we'd come down for Christmas or for the summer, but it was only like 1 or 2 weeks. It wasn't like a long period of time that I got to spend with her, but I always tried to take as much in from her as much as I could. And I would watch her weave, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this woman's amazing. I was like, how does she know when to stop? How does she know when to add? How does she, and I was sitting there and I was like, Grandma, how do you do that? She goes, it's all in my head. So I made a dress that was a replica of one of her rugs. And I do have that on my website. And I think it's called Grandma's Love or something like that, or For Grandma. But that I would have to say is my all-time favorite so far. because it reminds me of her and it's a part of her. And I was able to take something that she created and have recreate it, but in a clothing. It's a black velveteen dress with ruffles at the bottom, and then it has her design in the middle of it, and it's accented with silver studs, so it's really pretty.
Oh, wow, that does sound very beautiful. And I know you just mentioned it was at your fashion show with the Navajo Nations. Have your designs ever been featured in like magazines or other medias as well?
No, I haven't. Like, I kind of been writing on the down low yet. I feel like I haven't quite am ready there yet because I'm still in school. So I haven't really put myself out there as much. I mean, if I get requests, then I'll do it. I did the Navajo Nation Fair, and then just this fall, I was asked back home to be a featured designer and do a fashion show for the Woodland Art Show. So those are the only times I've been really featured, but I haven't been in any magazines or anything like that yet. But I'm hoping it will be sure to come after I graduate. I graduate from IAI, which is the Institute of American Indian Arts, this May with a degree in studio arts. So I'm pretty excited about that, and then can't wait to just get back and focus on my business.
Oh yes, definitely. That sounds so amazing. Do you have any of your designs or merchandise anywhere, like maybe here in the Phoenix area, or is everything that you offered, is it online?
Everything that I offer is online. I do travel out to like major powwows, conferences. So my upcoming one is going to be Denver March and Gathering. Is so far that I planned out for this year. So I'll be at those two places.
Oh, that's awesome. And thinking of how you started back in 2003, how would you say your company, Shiny Moon Creations, has evolved since then?
It's evolved from traditional clothing, and regalia was my main focus in making regalias like jingle dresses, grass dance outfits, but it's becoming more and more women's contemporary clothing. I'm also actually getting into designing fabric as well. So I want my own fabric to be able to use with my clothing. So it's just endless of what I could do once I graduate and be able to just focus on just sewing and not schoolwork.
And I forgot to mention, is part of your merchandise that you offer on Shiny Moon Creations, do you do beadwork as well, or is it all just kind of outfits, regalia, apparel?
Well, the outfits that I do is just like starter outfits. I don't do any full beading because that would take me forever, and as many orders as I get, I can't handle the full beading. But I do beadwork, but only pretty much for myself or for clothing that I'm doing for like fashion shows. But I'll do like applique, hair ties, chokers, leggings, and moccasins. But they're only applique. There's no beading, full beading to that. So I don't do that. Just applique sets.
Oh yeah, and beading is very time consuming. And do you do all of your work like from home, and do you do it alone?
I do it, the one thing that I'm very blessed with is my husband. He supports me. Funny story is, a long time ago I used to just do my own stuff, but he has designing, he's been an artist, architectural. He started back in college, and so he helps me with my designings as far as like aligning them for me. And so we work together on projects. Like I'll say, this is what I want, and he'll proportion it and put it together for me. So I'm very blessed that I do have a companion that loves me, supports me, and is right there by my side. But he says, I draw the line. I will not learn how to sew.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. You guys sound like the great team.
Yeah, I'm very blessed. And back in the days when my kids are all grown up and they've actually started their own businesses as well. But I always had them helping me, doing cones or doing beadwork. I was like, because they were all in sports, and I was like, this isn't cheap, and if you want to do it, then you need to help as well. So I'd always give them a chore to do to help me, and I think they dreaded it at times, but I never thought that they would have their own businesses as well.
Oh, wow, that is awesome. You sparked the interest of becoming entrepreneurs for them.
Exactly, yeah. So they each have their own business. My sons, their business is Reclaim Designs, and my daughter and her companion has a business called Native Games.
Jennifer, can you let us know where our listeners can go to learn more about Shiny Moon's creation, and how can they contact you if they have further questions?
My website is shinymooncreations.com. I'm on Instagram, so you can always look up Shiny Moon Creations and message me through Instagram, or my email is shinymooncreations@gmail.com.
Well, I would like to thank you, Jennifer, for taking time out to talk to us today to tell us more about your Shiny Moon Creations and how it all got started.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you reaching out to me, and happy to share what I know with you. And thank you so much, Yonko.
Up next, Lanasha chats with Julene Price, owner of Amigo Café. Support for KRDP 90.7 FM comes in part from Native Health, with 2 locations in Phoenix, 4041 North Central Avenue, Building C, near the corner of Central Avenue and Indian School Road, and at 2423 West Dunlap Avenue. Native Health is also located in Mesa at 777 West Southern Avenue, near the corner of Southern Avenue and Extension Road. Native Health Family Advocates can help you enroll, renew, or update your access information. This can be done in person, on the phone, or via Zoom, days, nights, or weekends. It's fast, easy, and can make a difference in keeping your health care coverage. For more information, call 602-279-5262.
Welcome back to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm host Lanasha Puadi. Julene Price is the owner of Amigo Café, serving Mexican and American samples, including burgers since 1983, located in Kayenta, Arizona, near Monument Valley on the Navajo Nation. Hello, Julene. It's an honor to have you on our show today.
Hello. It's a pleasure to be on your show. I'm super excited about this.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and about your Indigenous heritage?
Yes, I definitely can. My name is Julene Price. I'm the owner of Amigo Café. I'm originally from Monument Valley, Utah, but currently live in Farmington, New Mexico. I'm full Navajo, and I want to introduce myself as our culture does. I'm Ye'i Dene Tachitni, and Loka Dene are my fathers. Isa son is my grandfather on my maternal side, and Kimbalachitni are my paternal grandparents on my dad's side. I'm a mother, and I'm also a grandmother, and I love what I do. I love being a restaurant owner. I've been doing it for over 25 years, and I love good food, which is sort of, I'm not a great cook, but I do enjoy good food, and I like meeting new people. So I have the best of that with my job.
Oh, that is awesome. It's a pleasure to have you on our show today. And can you tell us, so we can get to know more about your cafe, can you tell us what is Amigo Café and how and when did it get started?
Well, Amigo Café opened its doors back in 1983. And this year, we're actually celebrating our 40th anniversary. We're located in Kayenta, Arizona, like you said, near the Four Corners area of the state, which is also the gateway to the famous Monument Valley Tribal Park. Amigo Café was originally a Mexican food cafe. The original owners had brought that product to the Navajo Nation, and I took over ownership 25 years ago. When I took ownership, I kept the name Amigo Café and the original recipes that came with the previous owners. It was very successful for them, so I wanted to continue on with that. But we also started incorporating some of the native dishes, which is basically the Navajo taco, anything to do with fry bread. We have Navajo burgers, and once in a while we would do mutton stew and stuff like that. So that's how Amigo Café has come so far.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. And we know you were just recently on Restaurant Impossible. How was that experience?
The Restaurant Impossible production was amazing. It was really great. We had a lot of fun. It was, my team and I had such a fantastic experience. We learned so much from Chef Robert Irvine, who's the host of Restaurant Impossible, and then also the Restaurant Impossible crew that comes with him. I worked with them, and they just taught us so much, and we did. It was a great experience.
And was filming Restaurant Impossible like it is presented on television?
Actually, what you see on television is basically the final product. It's 1 hour, but I started talking to Restaurant Impossible for months prior. And we did a lot of Zoom meetings and back and forth with the producers, not Mr. Roberts, because he just comes in that day of day 2 of the filming. And so we did we did a lot of Zoom, and then of course I give them what our restaurant looks like, and they have all sorts of people on staff to look at our restaurant, critique our food, and critique our business, and try to figure out what they want, where they want to go. So there's a lot of preparation beforehand. So we really didn't see anybody until the day of the filming, which came in back in May.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. And I know from someone who was sitting and watching your show, I felt really emotional, especially seeing your relationship with your daughter. So it was really good to see that on Restaurant Impossible, and also kind of seeing your restaurant from beforehand and the transition to the very end on how it came out, how the construction went, and how you guys just blossomed from there.
It was an exciting thing. I mean, like I said, we've been there for a very long time. Our building is on the Navajo Reservation. It's small. It's in Kayenta, probably the bigger communities on the Navajo Reservation, but we're small compared to a lot of things. And so, we deal with all the environment. In fact, the weekend that they did come, it was so windy. I've never seen the wind blow so hard. So these are some of the things that we go through all the time. So when the crew came in for that 3 day of filming, they were just like, "Oh my goodness, there is so much dirt here." And I said, "Yes, that's the reservation for you." So it was an exciting time for us.
Oh, definitely.
Despite all of that.
Definitely. I remember at one point they showed how all the sand was running into the restaurant too, and there was piles of sand inside of the restaurant.
Yes, we do get that. In fact, I always tell people, I said, it's funny how we see the snow plows, not so much when the snow is around, but when the wind blows, because the soft sand does go, over the road. So they have to dig it out somehow.
Oh, yes, definitely. And what was your favorite change, and what was the best thing about the experience?
The favorite change is probably, they unveil at the end of the show the dining room. They get to do a little bit of renovation. It's usually the focus is the dining room, and that's what their focus was on our restaurant. It'd be nice to have them redo the kitchen, but they have a limited budget, and so just where everybody sees when they first come into the restaurant is the dining room, and that was the best thing. I think that with the remodeling took like 24 hours, maybe less than 36 hours. They just come in and we just rip out everything, and then they have their designers come in, their team, and they just recreate the whole room like within less than 24 hours. So because basically what they're doing, the crew was there basically 3 days, but there was only filming 2 days. And so everything is so fast paced. And so that was the amazing thing with the remodeling.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. I especially liked how they reserved your daughter and husband's artwork as well and incorporated that into the design as well.
Yes, they did. Heather and Alan are very creative people. And so when COVID hit and we had to shut down for a period of time, we did a lot of renovations because we really didn't have anything else to do. There were some projects that we needed to take care of before, because we never had the time to. We would never have thought shutting down for a week or two just to catch up on some things that we needed to take care of. And so when COVID hit and we were forced to shut down, that's when we started getting a little creative, and they're both big artists. And so they had the woodwork and the paintings and all that. And so I was very pleased that they saved all of that, because that was a lot of work. And the coffee bar, I don't know if you saw that. That was just so, I feel like that's the center of the whole dining room, is that coffee bar. And it's just so beautiful. We're so proud of it.
Oh, yes, definitely. And how was it working with Chef Robert Irvine?
Well, I was a bit nervous about meeting Mr. Irvine. I had seen a couple of his episodes prior. I tried not to. I really don't have time to watch TV. But I thought I better do a little bit of research. And so I did. And I was pretty nervous. He's a tough guy. And so, but when he was there, I just felt like, this guy is so amazing. He has such a caring heart and a big heart, very passionate about his work. He wants people to succeed. And he's given us some good tools to help us to continue to be successful. So that was that was fun. I mean, he was very, very sensitive to our needs, and he loved working with my staff. In fact, he's like, I don't know if I want to get mad at these guys. These guys are so willing to learn. And that was my crew. I'm so proud of them as well, because they wanted to learn. They were there to see what we can learn from this guy. And this was a chance at a lifetime for them, for all of us. And so we took advantage of it. And his crew came along with a couple of other chefs as well. So they taught my cooks some new techniques. They talked to us about presentation, not only of the food, but in the dining area with my wait staff. They taught us a lot. So we were really happy about that. We were very pleased.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. It was definitely a great experience for everyone, your whole crew. Did people like the dishes that Chef Robert Irvine created?
I think it was a surprise. It was a surprise. We have a lot of people who, because we are the gateway to Monument Valley, we have a lot of tourists that come through. Most people loved it. A little bit of our locals were a little apprehensive about it because this is something new. For instance, the mutton tostada. It's an amazing dish. It's mutton is a staple in our culture, and so the way we present it is we braise the meat for hours and then cook to the right, so it's super tender. And then how we present it is sort of like a little barbecue flavor. And then we put it on tostadas with queso fresco cheese and fresh garnish. And so when they see it, they're like, mutton? on a tostada. But once they bite into it, they're like, oh my goodness, this is the best thing ever. We still have a lot of our old dishes because they've always carried us forward. We've always had great dishes. And so of the classics, I call them the classics. But the new dishes, people are starting to come in, especially after the show, and they see what they've created. There's one dish that Chef Irvine created, which was with the shrimp. And basically, it's the blue corn fry bread with shrimp and fresh garnish. I mean, fresh lettuce and fresh arugula and fresh tomatoes. And so when they see that, and they're like, oh, that's not a Navajo taco. And it's like, this is our version of a Navajo taco. We still have the original Navajo taco. But when they see the show and they say, oh, my goodness, that looks so good. And yes, come in and try it. And they try it, and they're just amazed how good it is. So I think the show, a little before they were a little apprehensive about, like have mutton in a tostada or shrimp on a Navajo taco. But once they saw the show and see how it was presented, now they're coming in and trying it. In fact, that first week after the show aired, we've been selling out on those dishes more than we have. So, but everybody loved it. I mean, we have some great dishes.
Oh, wow. Well, it was presented amazing, like you mentioned. I mean, it really made me want to go back and go to Kayenta and try the new dishes as well.
Oh, we hope to see you.
Yes. So talking about dishes, what is your favorite dish at Amigo Café?
Well, that would be the mutton tostada, and definitely the shrimp chalupa is what we call it. I just explained the mutton tostada, but the shrimp chalupa is amazing. It's we do a lot. One thing that we learned from the Restaurant Impossible crew is they showed us how to incorporate more fresher produce. We always had good produce, but we learned how to create our own sauces, create our own seasonings. And so there's a little more prep time that we have done, and it makes such a big difference. I've never realized how much of a difference it is. And so the shrimp chalupa is, again, it's the fry bread. It's the same dough that you would use on a traditional fry bread using flour, baking powder, and water. But in our recipes now, we've incorporated blue corn meal because that is a big staple among the Navajo people. And so when we present our shrimp chalupa, it has the blue corn fry bread as the base, and then fresh ingredients. We still use the lettuce, but we have arugula, and then we have fresh pickled onions that we make, fresh tomatoes, all of that, and it just builds up it builds up like a haystack, and it's so good. So those two, I think, are my favorite dishes right now. And then sometimes we do have the pork taquitos, and that's an amazing dish. It has the cheese sauce as the base, and just rolled shred pork. And everything's made from scratch. We buy our pork, and then we season it, we cook it, and do all those things before it's even presented to the customers. So there's a lot of cooking and prepping that we do.
Oh, wow. That all sounds super delicious. Julene, how can our listeners learn more about Amigo Café, and how can they contact you for further questions?
Well, they definitely can go to our website, amigocafekayenta.com. And there they will have our location. You will find our location. You'll find some pictures, have more of a direct contact if they needed to email us. And then it also has the social media sites listed on there. We do Instagram and Facebook. And so those sites will be attached to their website.
Oh, that's amazing. I would like to thank you, Julene, for taking time out to talk to us today, and congratulations on your 40th anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. We are super proud of it.
Thank you for listening to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and 90.7 FM KRDP. Our executive producer is Susan Levy. Sound engineer is Javier Quiroga, and our host is Lanasha Puadi. We hope you will tune in again next week. If you have any questions, please reach us at nativetalkaz@listen2krdp.com.